Hello again, people of the internet, and welcome back to What Emma Remembers.
Witness?
Mr. Edgeworth! What is it? Could you show me your evidence list again, please?
His list? The one with that picture scribbled on the back?
I knew it. This picture. I'm the one who drew it.
What?
You drew that?
That's right. The list wasn't torn in half at the time I drew this picture. All this time I've been trying so hard to forget. I must have locked this part away deep inside me.
Perhaps it would be best if we added this to the witness's testimony. Would you please tell us what you've recalled, Miss Skye?
Yes, Your Honor.
First, the knife mix-up, and now the blue badger? Should be interesting.
When I saw that man raise his knife, I panicked and rushed toward both of them. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. Just then, there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the blue badger. He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow.
This is certainly most unusual.
Try impossible. The chief of detectives hadn't even designed him until, well,
Yeah.
until this year.
That would mean he didn't even exist 2 years ago.
Yes. Well, the defense may now begin its cross-examination.
Stop! Please! Don't pursue this any further!
Lana?
What's the meaning of this? Please remain seated in the defendant's chair.
But you can't do this! I've already confessed to the crime! Why can't you just leave it at that? Chief Prosecutor Skye, we've already come this far. It's too late to turn back.
Silence! The defense will now begin its cross-examination. Bailiff, please detain the defendant.
It seems we're finally getting to the core of this matter. When you say that man, I assume you refer to Joe Dark?
Yes, at least I think it was him.
You think?
All I could really see were shadows. The power outage that immediately preceded the incident is also documented in the prosecutor's office reports.
So then you...
Why would you do something so dangerous?
What else could I have done? He was about to stab Mr. Marshall.
She seems convinced that Dark was the one holding the knife.
But as we've just theorized, Mr. Marshall was the one holding the knife. Well, I didn't know that at the time. When that Dark guy knocked me down, all I could think was, I've got to help that other person.
What did you mean by you think?
It all happened so fast, and I was in shock. I don't remember everything clearly. When I did, it's all kind of a blur. Miss Skye was almost killed before she was witness to a murder about to take place. With so much happening in a matter of seconds, a little disorientation is only natural. I saw the man about to stab the other person, who I thought was Mr. Marshall. I knew I had to stop the man with the knife.
What you did was very brave, young girl. So, then what happened next?
Are you sure about this?
Of course, see? I even drew a picture of him. Here. But it was the chief of detectives who thought up this hideous beast. And that was just this year. The Blue Badger didn't exist 2 years ago. This is all quite verifiable. I know it sounds strange. I was surprised too when I saw him at the police department. I had this nagging feeling that I'd seen him before somewhere. Now I finally remember.
Oh, brother. Just when you thought it was that thing had caused enough of commotion.
Tell us, where in the room did you see him dancing?
His shadow? You mean you didn't actually see his face with its winning smile and all?
That's right, but I still remember it. He had 3 creepy horns. This is pointless. That thing couldn't have possibly existed 2 years ago. The witness must be mistaken.
That well may be. But what's important is what caused her to think she saw what she did.
Oh? And I suppose you have an explanation. If so, then by all means, please tell us what this shadow really was.
What was it that Emma saw when that lightning flashed? Who was this blue badger really?
Is that the jar?
Yeah.
Oh.
The blue badger hadn't been dreamt up when Emma drew this picture, yet she's certain she saw its shadow. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the defense's belief that on that fateful day 2 years ago, there was indeed something that looked similar to the blue badger. Something that is now sitting in this very room.
Mr. Wright.
In this room? Very well, Mr. Wright. What is it that the witness saw in that instant? Please show us this mysterious blue badger look-alike.
I see, if you flip it upside down, it kind of looks like it's pointing out this way and up. And Alright.
The mysterious blue badger was in fact this.
But that's... what exactly is that?
I believe it's some sort of jar.
But, Mr. Wright, that doesn't look anything like the blue badger.
Indeed, it doesn't. At least, as it stands now, it's just a plain jar. However, what if we were to change our viewpoint?
Our viewpoint?
I've got to show them the correct angle to look at this form. Can I... Oh, there we go. This is kind of...
Janky?
Yeah. Hold on, I gotta...
You want me to do it, or you got it?
I think I got it. Oh, okay, I can do that too. Okay. That seems about right. Right?
Are you sure it's not just upside down?
It's not like this what it looks like upside down, but it also got to have that third one.
Alright.
Does that look right?
Yeah, I guess.
Well, is this a miracle or what? No one can possibly deny this jar's relevance to the blue badger.
No. It can't be!
Order! Order! The defense has proven its claim. The mysterious blue badger witnessed on the day of the crime was actually this. Although we all enjoyed Mr. Wright's dramatic performance, one question remains. What's your point?
What do you mean?
So that badger thing was actually just a jar. That doesn't change anything.
I'm afraid that's where you're wrong, Mr. Edgeworth. You see, this changes everything.
This changes nothing. Indeed, very well then. Indeed, very well then. Please tell us.
Did you have a mini stroke there or something? Like what?
I think I had a mini seizure, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Anyway, what's different now that we know the witness saw this jar? The murder weapon?
Why would the weapon be different?
So would the murderer somehow be different?
No.
Because if...
No, the location. This whole time we thought it was over in Lana's side, right? But where was the jar in the picture?
Oh.
It was next to the suit of armor, which was on...
the Gantz side.
Yes.
In front of the giant window.
Mm-hmm.
I completely, wasn't even thinking about that.
Yeah. Allow me to take these in turn. At the moment of the murder, the witness saw this jar.
At a very specific angle, I might add, Mr. Wright.
Yes, well, knowing this, where could she have seen this jar?
Where?
The location of this jar is shown in the picture taken on the day of the crime. It's on a shelf in the office of Damon Grant.
but the body was found lying near Lana Sky's desk. The witness testified so herself.
Yes, and it was, and these two facts that reveal what actually transpired. You see, the struggle between Dark and Marshall did not take place in Lana Sky's office. It happened on the other side of the room, in Chief Gant's office.
Are you implying the murderer moved the victim's body from Damon Gant's office to Lana Sky's office?
Yes.
Why would he do that? There's no reason.
Exactly. If there wasn't a reason, he wouldn't have gone through the trouble. There's only one logical conclusion, and that there was a reason.
Do you know what that reason was, Mr. Wright?
I finally figured it out. So this is why Lana tried to stop the trial. It's too late to quit now, though.
Chief Gant was actually the murderer.
Please recall the witness's testimony. She said she knocked away the man who was holding the knife. In the next instant, the jar was hit and flew through the air. Now tell me, what could have sent the jar flying?
That would have to have been the impact the man made when he was knocked into the wall?
Ladies and gentlemen, if I may draw attention to this picture once more. If the man was knocked into the direction of the shelf and the jar was sitting on, what would he have hit?
The suit of armor, holding a very sharp and dangerous-looking sword.
Yes. And since the man who was knocked into that armor was carrying a broken knife, he would have had to have been Neil Marshall, wielding the knife of the King of Prosecutors trophy.
No, Mr. Wright, you can't be thinking...
Yes. There is another possibility of what actually transpired in that room.
Another possibility?
Of course, the perpetrator would have no idea, but nevertheless... I don't know if I can go through with this.
Mr. Wright, what's the matter? If events took place as the defense theorizes, then the outcome is obvious. In that moment, assuming the man Emma Sky knocked away was actually Prosecutor Neil... So wait, that's how Neil died? He was accidentally thrown onto the knife? Or sword? Or was that supposed to be Dark?
No, that was Neil. Emma pushed
him into... Oh, shit.
You
mean Mr. Marshall died because of me? No! I never imagined her testimony would lead to this. So what does the witness who took the victim's life? And then proved so with her own testimony. This is unprecedented. What? What are you saying?
I'm sorry, Miss Sky, but given the circumstances...
Joe Dark murdered Prosecutor Marshall. How could you think it was Emma? How dare you try to pin the crime on her? Imagine that, coming from you. If you recall, it was you who admitted forging evidence 2 years ago. The reason you moved Prosecutor Marshall's body was to keep anyone else from finding out about what Emma did, wasn't it? I assure you, Mr. Edgeworth, I have no idea what you're talking about. If you hope to have anyone believe your insane allegations, I'm afraid you're going to have proof. Tell me, do you have any conclusive evidence that proves my sister killed Neil Marshall?
Evidence?
I'm willing to bet you don't. Yes, it certainly would be difficult to prove this with evidence. If we don't have evidence, then we'll have to rely on testimony. I'm afraid that won't work in this case. Both parties involved in the incident are dead.
You certainly can't get dead people to testify. This all has been a wild goose chase from the beginning.
Touché, Miss Sky. Of course, that only leaves us with one possibility.
You mean there's still another possibility?
What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? I mean the possibility that the victim has left us a message. For better or for worse, Mr. Marshall did not die instantly. He may have left behind the name of the person who took his life, in one manner or another.
That's impossible.
Well, Mr. Wright, this is the only possibility left to you. A message from the deceased. Does such a message exist?
I've got to think back to the court record. The real murderer's name that the victim may have left behind.
So it's not Emma?
It is Emma.
But
Wait.
you said it was Gant!
I said the murder of Bruce Goodman was Gant.
Man, is Emma gonna get fucking arrested too?
Well, she didn't do it on purpose.
Granted, but accident or not, she still killed a detective.
Yeah.
Or a prosecutor. But still, that's... Mr. Wright, will you stop at nothing to prove my sister a murderer?
Do not be mistaken, Miss Skye. Our purpose is not to accuse Emma of any crime. There is only one thing we seek. The truth. No matter how painful it may be. Now then, Mr. Wright. Please show us the piece of evidence that conveys a message from the deceased.
I really need to use both hands to fucking... Okay, hold on. This is a message left by the deceased.
This is that blue badger from before, right?
Oh, is he going to just speak the killer's name?
If that thing could, I'm sure it would.
Looks like everyone's forgotten this is just a jar. A message was left here on the surface of this jar.
What do you mean?
If you look closely, you can see a faint trail of blood on this jar.
It looks like someone wiped away the blood.
Yes, but notice, for some reason, the blood on the message of the fragments was not wiped away. Yes, there's a line.
There is a line here, drawn in blood. So what you're saying is these dots were once lines.
Prosecutor Marshall did not die instantly. He used a few precious moments left to him to leave behind a message.
One that someone apparently wiped away. But blood must have seeped into the jar where the lines changed directions.
Precisely so. All you need to do is connect these points, and the victim's message will become apparent.
No.
Mr. Wright, what kind of message did the victim leave for us?
Your Honor, I believe these dot stains will reveal to us the answer. Gotta connect these dots to make letters. There's only one thing the victim would have written, given the circumstances, his murderer's name.
Oh man.
It's the defense attorney's duty to prove their client's innocence. That's why all I've been thinking about is saving Lana. After all my efforts, I never thought it would turn out like this. Emma.
So this is the final message Prosecutor Marshall left behind. Of all people, she may not have meant it, but in the end, the one who took the victim's life
Was Emma Skye. Seaworthy? Can't say I didn't warn you.
Chief Gant.
Do you understand the implications of what you've done?
What? What are you talking about?
2 years ago, Joe Dark was sentenced to death. He was convicted because of his final murder. I believe you were the prosecutor in the case, were you not?
Ah,
Yes, Worthy. Because of you, an innocent man was sentenced to death. Not only that, but you used forged evidence to ensure his conviction. But Joe Dark really was a serial murderer. That's undeniable. I'm afraid that's not important. Didn't you know? We aren't defenders of justice. What? We're merely keepers of the law. Sentencing a man to death is no light matter. Even if there wasn't any cover-up or evidence forgery, ultimately the responsibility falls on the prosecutor in the charge. Despite what anyone might say, the fact cannot be denied. What's going on at the prosecutor's office? They might have sent an innocent man to his death.
How could he just stand there like it wasn't his fault?
order, 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 order.
The gavel pounding fell on deaf ears. Unable to settle the crowd, the judge declared a recess. Where this trial is headed, no one knows.
So, Emma, in her panic, accidentally killed Prosecutor Marshall.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's the reason Lana was...
so insensitive. Dead set on trying to cover it up.
It's also why Gant could control her, because Gant knew the truth. And he threatened to expose Emma if Lana...
But how did he figure it out?
Well, that I don't know. I don't remember. But why else would he have those items in his safe?
Well, sure.
He was using that to blackmail her.
Right. Alright, so... my question is, why would he murder Goodman?
Well, maybe Goodman found out.
About Emma?
Or
Or about the blackmail?
Probably about the blackmail.
Well, even so, to go around and just murder another detective and then,
Sorry, Edgeworth. I didn't mean to get you in trouble.
Don't worry about it. This is my problem, not yours. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. Sorry.
Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it?
You've got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run all around while on duty. And to top it off, you call me here. I've seen hyper people at funerals.
Didn't we have this conversation before?
yes.
I take it Lana's having you run errands again?
Let me tell you, this is the last time, pal. Here, she asked me to give this to you if there was a break in today's trial.
Evidence? Law? Edgeworth was talking about this just the other day.
You must know the 2 rules of evidence law. Rule 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department.
Is that right, Mr. Wright?
It seems so.
You could at least study some evidence law, really.
The chief prosecutor also wanted me to give you a message.
A message?
She said, if you're planning to take him on, you're going to need this book.
Him. I guess I'll need to give this book a thorough read.
Explains the 2 rules of homicide. Doesn't look like that book will do you any good now, though.
Well, I mean...
Can we... And unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial.
Okay.
Alright, that's... Alright.
Simple enough.
Yeah. All that's up now is the chief prosecutor's sentence.
That's where you're wrong, Detective.
Huh? Haven't you figured it out yet? Why I'm still sitting in that prosecutor's seat? Despite all these allegations being thrown at me? Mr. Edgeworth, the real trial today hasn't begun yet.
That's, Edward talking about Gumshoe.
That I was trying to do his voice.
Oh, it sounded like Gumshoe's voice, sorry.
No, Gumshoe was, yeah, like, he sounds kind of like this. He's got that weird thing in his throat.
Yeah.
You know, Edgeworth is just my regular voice.
I know. For some reason it sounded like, well, whatever.
Alright, the real trial today hasn't begun yet.
There you go.
What? What else is there left to do? Your credibility has been all but ruined with this forged evidence you were unaware of. Emma Skye found out she evidently caused a man's death. And now you're telling me you want to do more? You've got to be kidding me, pal!
You're missing the point, Detective. Lana didn't murder Detective Goodman. She merely stuck a knife in his dead body. That means the real killer is still out there.
Wait, what? Oh, okay. Lana dead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What?
And we're going to expose him, no matter what it takes. This case has hurt too many people. It's time to bring it to an end.
Actually, would you mind passing me?
Just don't spill it.
Thank you.
No!
No!
Take a fucking bath in Dr. Pepper.
Jeez Louise.
Court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. Mr. Edgeworth.
Yes, Your Honor.
The Inquiry Committee is planning to impose harsh penalties for your actions.
Thank you for the news, Your Honor.
Yes, well... Normally, this is where the prosecution calls forth a witness. But, this isn't easy to say. You see, there is some concern that you, Mr. Edgeworth, may have,
Struck a bargain? You think I may have manipulated the witnesses?
I didn't say that. It's just, you see, everyone has been talking, and...
Very well, Your Honor. I have a solution.
A solution?
That being the case, the prosecution will allow the defense to call forth all further witnesses.
What? But there's no precedent for what you're proposing.
Undeniably, this is an unusual arrangement, but a very effective one. It would prove that I haven't struck any deals with the witnesses.
Well, Mr. Wright, what do you say?
Unbelievable. Edgeworth has found a way to continue the trial. Very well, the defense accepts the prosecution's proposal.
Then it's settled. The, defense may now call forth the next witness.
Mr. Wright, you do realize this is your last chance. If you call the wrong witness, this trial is as good as over.
The defense calls... The time's finally come to bring out the real murderer. Damon Gant. The defense calls Damon Gant to the stand.
Damon Gant? What does he have to do with anything?
As the defendant's partner 2 years ago, Mr. Gant has first-hand knowledge of the crime. I feel we should hear what he has to say about it.
As luck would have it, he should still be in the courthouse. He would also be the least likely to have been manipulated by me in any way. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor?
True. Alright, bailiff, please escort Mr. Gant to the stand.
Witness, please state your name and occupation.
What is this? Some kind of practical joke? I was just on my way to lunch.
Your name and occupation, sir.
Worthy, are you sure you want to do this?
Your name and occupation.
So, you want to play hardball, eh?
But please, Mr. Gant.
Fine. My name is Damon Gant. I'm the acting chief of police. Now then, Chief Gant, the court requests to hear your testimony. Oh, righto. What's with the grim face? First, let's clear up this SL9 incident. Oh, you mean that time Lana's sister murdered that prosecutor? Personally, I think it's been made pretty clear already. There are still some things unaccounted for. Oh? Like what? Like the role you played in all of this. Son, either you're very brave or very foolish. You are aware, that, of course, that a police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons? Sure. Take my testimony, for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to. What? Is that true?
I'm afraid so. The chief of police has the right to refuse to testify.
Of course, such an action carries with it certain risks.
Don't worry. I'm not here to hinder your trial. Just remember, If this turns out to be a big waste of time, don't say I didn't warn you.
Very well. The witness may now begin his testimony.
As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him in that day. To make a long story short, we slipped up. That power outage didn't help either. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Apparently, she had already arranged the crime scene. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery.
Is that when Dark was arrested?
Him? He was lying on the floor, unconscious. When Emma sent Neil flying, it seems Dark bumped his head.
I see. Everything seems pretty clear-cut.
If the police chief has the right to refuse to testify, then I'd better hit him hard and fast.
So, press him on everything?
Pretty much. As I recall, a ceremony was held at the police department that day. Yes, that's right. I guess you could say I'm a workaholic. After winning his award, Neil was all fired up too. That probably is what spooked Dark and made him run away like that.
Was the defendant, Lana Skye, also present in the room?
I don't quite remember. At the very least, she wasn't there when Dark ran for it. So the two of you ran immediately after him, right? That's right, but Dark made it to the elevator first. So Neil and I split up. He went upstairs and I went downstairs. I guess you could say he got lucky.
What's this about a power outage?
Oh, that. The elevator stopped all of a sudden, and I got the shock of my life. Well, it's probably not as shocked as Neil when that knife went into his heart, though. That's not funny. Could you tell us what you saw? It was a shocking sight. Neil and that serial killer were lying in a heap on the floor, all tangled together. Dark was also lying collapsed on the... Dark was also lying collapsed on the floor? Yes, apparently he hit his head and was knocked out. Next to them were those two poor girls, Lana and Emma. Lana was cradling Emma in her arms. Looking back at it now, she must have already known what her sister had done. How can you know that? Because of the victim's body. It had already been moved.
So, that means... you found the body near Lana's desk?
That's right. I think you said so earlier. It was my suit of armor that really stopped the prosecutor. Yes. Anyway... So you're saying that the forgery had already taken place by the time you arrived at your office. That's exactly what I am saying. I can understand how Lana must have felt, but moving a body and hiding evidence are inexcusable no matter what the circumstances. Is that how it really went down?
Staring at the witness won't do you any good, Mr. Wright. If you're going to stare at anything, you'd be better off staring at the court record.
Worthy, worthy, always the smooth talker. But which piece of evidence ties Grant to the forgery? Lana did admit to forging evidence, but that can't be the whole truth. Somehow I've got to link Gant to the incident. Well, there was the items in his... Oh, fuck, that's not what I meant to press.
So, what's the evidence we gotta use to tie him to it?
The evidence we gotta use to tie him to it will be discovered in the next episode.
God damn it!
See you guys next time.